Steve Alcorn's a fine investigator. What he's doing with this Chris dude, I have no idea.
I gave her cigarettes for our anniversary one year.
There you go. That's fucking romantic.
She didn't like gifts. I said, well, I want to get you something. What do you want? Just give me a couple packs of cigarettes. So I wrapped them up and gave them to her.
Yeah, have some lung cancer.
You got a dead Bigfoot that's just been shot, hanging upside down in a tree. Though Meldrum was also careful to note, it's not a course about Bigfoot.
It's a course about Fozzie Bear. Who's Fozzie Bear? Some say his father was half grizzly. Nobody believed he was real. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a Muppet. To me, that was better than being President of the United States.
They upped my meds last night, so anything's possible. We're laughing at a story about dead people. I can't explain it, but it sure makes me feel like the spirits are happy.
I mean, I guess you could say it might have been somebody's hand moving real quick, but it's not a fucking ghost.
The jury's still out on that.
See, your hoaxes come at you with smiles. They come as your friends.
Pope Francis says doggy heaven is real, so your dog has a soul.
Ah, so now the dogs can hang out with the pedophiles.
Not Benedict, Francis, Pope Francis.
No, I'm just guilt by association, Steve.
Yeah, that's probably true. That's what they say when they talk about me and you.
Yeah, there you go. Hello, peoples, and welcome to my diseased sickness that is known as the Fortean Slip, brought to you by this cold that's made me nasally and shitty. This is episode 68, Steve.
Ooh, one more to go.
Fuck off.
I've been waiting. I've been waiting for episode 69.
I'm skipping it. I'm fucking totally skipping it. We're going right to episode 70. This is the Postal Apocalypse always rings once.
I like what you did there.
Yeah, do you? I wasn't sure if I should go twice or once. I'm pretty sure if it's a Postal Apocalypse, it's just gonna be once.
Generally, that's what they do.
That's how it happens.
Yes.
I recently, Steve, rewatched a movie that I had originally thought was, and I don't even dare say this, I thought it was like a fucking masterpiece of a movie at the time, and that is the movie The Postman. I would like to get a hold of John Teeter's fucking time machine, go back in time, and slap the shit out of myself for thinking that was a great movie.
You know, here's the thing. It's a movie that I have actually seen. I know that surprises you. And I thought it was a great movie.
And it's based on a book. I've heard the book is really good.
I don't know how to read.
Anybody who's listened to you read the fucking news knows that. But at first glance, when I watched it the first time, I loved it. I was like, this is fucking great. This is awesome. Ed Tom Petty. Will Patton, which I've fucking fanboyed over Will Patton for, the entire existence of this show. The guy is great. I like Will Patton as an actor. What's that?
Have we ever talked about a movie that didn't include Will Patton?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we've talked about movies that haven't included him. But this movie definitely includes him, like front and center. Like if I talk about this movie now, it's not a Kevin Costner film. It's a Will Patton film. Kevin Costner is the busybody who fucks with Will Patton's fucking little regime. Fucking just picking up the mail, thinking he can just deliver it. Fucking bring the United States back when Will Patton's got his fucking army just trouncing across the fucking United States, conscripting people, fucking everybody over, acting like he's a fucking lord of the, days of old. Just, I'll fuck your wife before you fucking get to marry her.
I don't know. I really, but I've only seen it once.
Do you know what I was before
maybe if
the
I
war?
go back and rewatch it.
I was a paper copier salesman. The fucking guy is great. The only fucking part of that movie that's redeeming is Will Patton. That's it.
Really?
Oh, I completely think so.
I really enjoyed
Ford Lincoln Mercury. Really?
Well, yeah.
President Snarky. Or Starkey. Whatever the fuck he was. What the fuck?
It's been a while since I've seen it, so I don't remember all of it, but I thought it was a good movie. And I'm not a, me, I'm not a movie watcher, man. So if I find a movie that I like, and I really liked it. So.
Oh, in its shittiness, I can still watch it. That's one of the interesting things about The Postman. Like, I sat down and watched it, and I didn't want to shut it off. Like, I still was entertained. I didn't think it was a great movie. I just thought it was like, wow. I think what it made me really realize is like, wow, Kevin Costner couldn't fucking act. Like his way out of a wet paper bag. It's just, he's horrid.
Still a good movie.
It's entertaining. I can sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
Now you had brought up.
Rings true.
Now you had brought up, since we're talking about post-apocalyptic movies / entertainment, you had brought up The Road, which I thought was a fucking fabulous movie, and that's got Viggo Mortensen. I don't know exactly how to pronounce his last name, and it's basically it's got Robert Duvall in it too for a short little stint. But it's basically just him and his son traveling on the road.
A road, yeah.
In this post-apocalyptic world, trying to survive, and it's pretty gruesome. It's gritty, it's dark. It definitely looks at the reality of it.
Well, when I think of a post-apocalyptic world, that's what I envision, man. Something of that nature. People just trying to fucking survive.
Yeah, I don't envision a farmer taking over the world, which is what happened in the Postal.
Right. Well, I mean, both scenarios probably have truth to them, what would happen, but obviously we're not going to, have some guy delivering mail and be some sort of hero, but there's, some things probably from each movie ring true, but for me, the Road rang true because at the time I watched it, I was a single dad raising a kid, and that kind of hit home. That one did, The Road. It scared the fuck out of me, is what it did. Thinking, well, could I do this? If something like that happened.
Could you live that life? Could you make the sacrifices that guy made? That movie
and that's what I had to ask myself.
Yeah, that movie just takes you to the edge of questioning who you are on a base level as a parent.
And being that, that guy was a single dad and I was a single dad and my son was about his son's age at the time I watched it. And yeah, that fucking scared the shit out of me, man, thinking I wouldn't be able to do what this guy's doing if this sort of thing actually did happen. The reason I watched it in the first place wasn't because of that. I didn't even know what the movie was about. I just, it was, parts of it were filmed locally or, local to where I live. So I always try to check out those kind of movies to see if I recognize anything. And so I just figured I'd watch it, and then I couldn't take my eyes off the fucking TV when I was watching it, because it hit home. That movie actually hit home.
Yeah, that was a really well-filmed movie. Had strong actors in it. The part with Robert Duvall, I loved. I think he's a great actor. He adds to every movie that he's in, no matter how small or big his part is. And that movie just was strong all the way through. And
a lot of people didn't like it. A lot of people thought it was slow and boring, but when you're in the situation that I was in at the time, yeah.
Well, it is a slow and boring. it is kind of a slow and boring movie, but that's the point,
right?
Like that was their life,
right?
Yeah, that's a lot of times when you watch movies, you have to look at it in terms of what you're watching. Put it in perspective. Don't just watch a movie and expect hey. I mean, yeah, entertain me, but sometimes you got to go into movies with a little bit of something.
I would have to say, out of every movie I've ever watched in my entire life, that was probably the one that hit home the most, and only because of my situation at the time. And I'm telling you, man, I don't know what I would do.
Oh yeah,
in that kind of situation.
That's crazy. It makes you question what would happen in that situation, because goddamn well, if the shit really went down, that stuff would happen.
Yeah.
Like the looting, the rioting, it would all go down to fucking just base level humanity, which is survival.
Well, just think about this winter, Chris, and how we had a rough winter this year, and just every mention of a snowstorm, what did people do? They run to the fucking store and go crazy.
It's been the same way here for ages. They wipe out the bread, the milk, and the eggs. Why those things?
Everything's gone.
Why it's just those things? Why it's not like chips, beer, and milk, eggs, and bread, always just gone. Like the end of the end is coming. They'll never be able to get to a store, and I've lived here for my whole life. Shit.
Oh, and it's that way here too when they announce something. I remember just thinking back to 9/11 and people going to the gas station because they thought gas prices would rise the next day, and people were there with 500-gallon fucking tanks in the back of their truck. And I'm not joking, man. Filling up
look
their
at what happened when
thinking, okay, we're never going to be able to buy gas.
Look at what happened when New York had the flood. When New York and New Jersey had that, I can't remember what came through, but it flooded stuff out, and they had people lining up for gas in other places because they couldn't get gas where they were. It was insane what happened.
Right.
And imagine that on
that to the next level.
Right. Imagine that on a larger scale. We're fucked. Like, we're fucked because people get down to
immediately.
Once people get down to instinct level, Steve, people like you and me are fucked.
Right, because I'm not gonna. I'll put it off. I won't go to the store. It's nothing. That kind of thing. And then the next day, after all this shit goes down, the first thing that's going to happen is the stores are going to be wiped the fuck out, so you're not going to be able to buy food. So you're going to have to exist on what you have. And then after that's gone, then what? Right. And I don't own a gun. I don't own
fucking survival.
Anything like that.
It's survival of the fittest, man. That's what it is at that point.
And that's what I thought. And that's what I thought when I watched that movie, The Road, man. I'll never even make it to that point. I'll be long gone before that ever happens.
Oh yeah.
And it scared the hell out of me because you look at the news and something like that could happen eventually. I don't think it's going to happen like tomorrow or anything, I hope. But, and geez, I know I'm done. I'm hoping to be the first one to go. Me and my family,
If Steve was on The Walking Dead, he'd just let the first fucking zombie eat him.
Absolutely, man.
I'm fucking
I want to
done,
be
man.
gone. I
Oh,
don't want to
waiter,
have to live
check,
with that
please.
shit. You put me back in the old West days or something, I'd have fucking been eaten by coyotes or something. I don't know. I wouldn't have been able to survive.
Yeah,
I do have a little bit of survival skills, but not enough to get me through a post-apocalyptic world. That's for sure.
I love a good post-apocalyptic world story. The reboot of the Mad Max movie is coming out there. That Mad Max Fury Road. I want to check that
Yeah, I
out.
want to see that one.
I loved Mad Max. It kind of went a little askew as it went on, but I did love the movies. And I enjoy a good post-apocalyptic story. I've read quite a few books on those subjects. I don't want to go into it too much and ruin stories for people or anything like that, but I've always just had a fascination with it. One that I really like. It's not really a post-apocalyptic, but it kind of is which you're probably unaware of, Steve, is The Gunslinger, which is the Dark Tower series by Stephen King.
Yeah, I'm unaware.
You're completely unaware, yeah.
I told you, don't read.
Yeah, you don't read. I forget. It's completely obvious. And that's a weird kind of post-apocalyptic fantasy world, kind of multi-dimensional thing. But I've always been fascinated by the subject. But just rewatching that movie, I was like, oh God, I wanted to slap the shit out of myself for liking that movie. It was just so bad. It's so bad on some levels that it is good.
I enjoyed every minute of it. Of course, like I said, I've only watched it once. I haven't gone back and rewatched it.
Oh, go back and rewatch it.
I thought it was a really good movie.
No, go back and
Okay,
rewatch
it. I'd rather remember it as a good movie.
No, go back and rewatch it and realize how atrocious it is. Because it is. It's bad.
But I'm sure there was a lot of truth in it, though. People will band together in different, I guess you would call them tribes or whatever, and one guy's going to try to run everything.
Yeah, well, if
Right.
if technology got driven back to that point and people are riding around on horses again, then yeah,
Right.
Yeah, you're
And
gonna have
eventually that's
separation.
what it would come to.
I don't
I think
know.
eventually, we'd have to rebuild. So you're going to go back to the old ways. And for thousands of years, horses was your mode of transportation. So as long as your horses survive the apocalypse, I guess you're going to probably try to go back to that. Of course, people are going to have to relearn everything because we're so dependent on, technology.
That's all right. The apes are gonna
So
rise and take
a lot
over.
of people they sure are. Now that was my favorite of all time. I mean, well, besides the road.
Oh,
I
now
can't
is it
call
fucking
the road
see
my
you can't you
favorite.
fucking go you change you're like the fair weather movie friend.
Well,
Fucking
no, I can't call the road my favorite. The road meant something to me for a whole different reason than being a favorite movie. But as far as post-apocalyptic type movies go, I love the original Planet of the Apes. I thought that was so cool. It's cheesy,
oh
but
yeah,
at the time it was
original
made, and the
Planet of
first
the
time I
Apes.
ever saw it,
Oh God, those movies are just
but
ugh.
it rang true.
I like the reboot that they're doing. Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those yet.
That's another one. The people get driven back. They're trying to hold on to technology. They're trying to get the power station back up so that they can have power. So because without it, they're afraid of the rioting starting, and it's because people get down to an instinctual level of survival, and once that happens,
Absolutely.
you're
screwed.
It's fucking survival of the fittest. We're fucked.
Well, if you think about it, Chris, what happens when the power goes out at your house? You're scrambling around for fucking candles. You're not prepared. I mean, at least that's what happens here. I don't know where any of that shit is.
Yeah.
You know, and I have to look around for a flashlight or a candle or something. You're not nobody unless you're a prepper. And even those people probably, you know, aren't all that prepared as much as they think they are. But I'm just saying, you're not going to be prepared for what's to come if that happens. And it's going to suck. And there's going to be so many, you know, people dying and people killing each other just for a can of beans. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
it's
going to get to
I'm not involved.
a bad point if it ever happens. It's going to get to a point of dog eat dog.
What I'm happy about is not a lot of people, you know, love spam like I do, so I'll be able to survive on that for a few weeks.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, because at that point, people aren't going to give a shit, Steve. They're just going to eat your spam.
I know they aren't. Hell, they'll start eating each other.
Yeah, I was just going to say, fucking the cannibals will roll through and you're fucked.
Yeah, look at the Donner Party. I mean, it wasn't a post-apocalyptic thing, but to them it was. You know, they're stuck out here with nowhere to go, and they start eating each other. I mean, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. You get low.
When food runs out, because your farmers aren't going to still farm. They're going to be just as desperate as you are, you know?
Yeah.
So people are going to start getting back to that level, that basic instincts. Eat. It all comes down to food in the end. Food and water.
And then fucking.
Well, yeah.
You gotta put fucking in there.
You gotta
somewhere.
continue the species, you know. Well, that's first, then food, then water.
Wow. I tend to agree. Do you get any news, Steve?
Well, in my post-apocalyptic, no. I don't
No?
have any news. Oh yeah, I do.
I'm so out of sorts tonight. Just fucking.
And that has to do with the news because...
Nothing. I just wanted to point it out because I am.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
a fucking mess.
Yeah, you're not going to make it to the
I'm on enough. I'm on a fucking big shot of Dayquil. I took something else for my nose, I think.
Well, my allergies are coming back because, you know, all the snow's melting shit. So I've been sniffling the whole show. I had to mute myself like 30 times.
Yeah,
so
I've been listening to your little, the whole show. You sound like a cokehead. You sound like a dude from the 80s that like needed to go to the bathroom all the time.
I'm more of a Pepsi guy, but
yeah.
From mysteriousuniverse.org. Yeah, I know that was horrible. You told me not to do it.
Just read
from mysteriousuniverse.org. Yowie Hunter, I love that word, Yowie, says Yowie left a handprint on his vehicle. When you go Yowie hunting, you expect or hope to find what Yowie Hunter Jason Heel, hoaxer, has seen, heard, smelled, and felt. Growling, rocks thrown, tree branches snapped, strange smells. He felt as if they were being watched, seen many footprints, felt like being followed, walking out in the middle of nowhere late at night. What you don't expect to find is Yowie messing with your vehicle. Yet that's exactly what Heel says he found on a recent trip. There we go again. See that? Yeah. A Yowie hand or paw print on the rear window of his dusty Jeep. It's funny, though, that the rear window is the only part of the Jeep that's dusty. Just saying. Heel is one half of the team of Jason Heel and Jason Dunn, better known as J&J Yowie Search. They made news in April of 2014 when they released a video of a Yowie recorded in South Queensland, which they claimed to have lured to their infrared tree camera with apples, their favorite food of many hairy cryptids. Mm-hmm. That video was met with skepticism.
I go with apple pie,
and the story
Steve.
about getting the Yowie's attention.
You get more attention with apple pie over apples, I think.
Probably. The latest
Maybe
video
apple
was
crisp.
posted by Heel. The latest video was posted by Heel on March 9th, 2015. Here's what he says happened. He was headed to a pine forest to collect a tree cam. When he got back to his Jeep, he noticed a very large handprint on the back window. Heel believes the print was made in that spot because he always picks up dust on the road. The large print has 5 fingers or appendages and 5 long claws. It doesn't appear he found any other prints on the Jeep or the ground. Did Heel's Jeep get admired by a Yowie? Well, there are no bears or animals roaming eastern Australia that might match the print. The print is humanoid, but many believe Yowie is more animal-like. Whatever it is, it's sure to cause arguments among Yowie hunters, believers, and skeptics. Hoax. In our next story, from Worldwide
Our next story
Weird
from the
News.com.
Chinese kitchen.
Oh yeah, there's some. Actually,
Just read the
my son is
fucking
in the background
news.
Probably making ramen noodles. So Chinese. Or the ramen Chinese? I don't know. Thief smokes dead woman's ashes after believing it is drugs. A cruel thief smoked a dead woman's ashes after he thought it was drugs, police in Alabama said. Dumbass. Philip McMullen told police that his home in Citronelle was turned upside down while he was away on vacation last week. Someone stole his generator, chainsaw, and a handful of other items. The thief also tried to break his gun safe. The thief even took my wife's ashes, spread them around, and smoked some of it, McMullen complained. Sorry.
These stories are fucking common, because I just saw one the other day of a fucking kid that snorted them. Snorted fucking somebody's fucking
Why would you?
ashes. Because they're dumb.
The ashes were in a regular metal box. Yeah, well, they are thieves. Thieves aren't usually the smartest people in the world. The ashes were in a regular metal box, so the thief mistook it for drugs, because that's where you always put your drugs, apparently. Police are still investigating the incident, and so far no arrests have been made. In July, a man was arrested and charged with theft-related charges after he was caught stealing some human ashes, according to police reports in Tennessee. Nashville police said that William Cantrell, 28, was arrested for allegedly stealing a box of human ashes from a home. Relatives believe Cantrell thought the ashes were cocaine because they look similar, apparently. Cantrell thought it was drugs. He thought that he found a box of cocaine. Cantrell's grandmother, Wanda Allen, said Cantrell was held on a charge of aggravated robbery. According to a police affidavit, Cantrell also stole an Xbox from his neighbor, Stephen Medley, along with the small box, and fled to his grandmother's house in Nashville. His grandmother thought he was drunk during the incidents. The ashes belonged to Medley's mother. Stupid-ass criminals. And our final story from the BradfordEra.com. This is actually a local story
From
to me,
the
and that's why I wanted
Bradford
to read it.
Exchange.
Different
Oh.
Bradford. From Smethport, something made some prints in the snow at Keating Township resident, but what that something was is a bit of a mystery. On Friday, Dr. Kent Smith said he had some marks in his yard and in a nearby field. The marks look like footprints, only bigger. Although a cleaning lady at the Dr. Kent Smith residence on East Valley Road first spotted fresh tracks almost a week ago, several days passed before she told Smith of her discovery, probably due to the skepticism over such reports. According to Smith, when she did tell us, she said that she had seen similar prints on her farm in the Bradford area. Since being informed of the prints, Smith has observed them daily from his home for 5 days and said that no new footprints have appeared. Smith, who described himself as a skeptic about reports of huge human-like creatures, nevertheless said Friday after contacting the Era, these look like footprints, but they're so large and far apart. David Inman of Portville, New York, a carpenter who has worked for the Smiths on various projects, showed the footprints route that led hundreds of feet from a field across the East Valley Road through the Smiths' yard, coming very close to the house before heading toward Potato Creek and leading eventually into a nearby wooded area. Smith said he is uncertain where the footprints started and no new prints have appeared. The cleaning lady, Smith said, pointed to a current construction work, excavating and grading at a nearby power line that could have possibly disturbed some habitat. Inman, who used his tape measure to determine the footprint sizes, said many are 20 inches long and 16 inches wide. He noted the single footprints are consistently 9 feet apart. Boy, that's a long fucking stride there. Smith measured the depth Friday afternoon. There has been no new snow since discovering the footprints, and even after some of the snow melted, some of the tracks are still between 5 and 6 inches deep. After he learned about the footprints on Wednesday, Inman said he followed their trail into several hundred feet into the woods, where he noticed some freshly broken branches. It's obviously that this was something very large, he said. When informed about the footprints, Smith said he hadn't heard any unusual noises outside the house in the last week. But what made the footprints remains a mystery. What is not a mystery is that my dog
Not a
likes to interrupt the
mystery.
show
Is
by
yes, your
water.
dog is drinking fucking water again while you're reading the news.
Anyway, Chris, that is the news. I
Oh,
hope you're feeling better soon.
As always, riveting, Steve.
Yeah. 9 foot apart.
Yeah. Oh. They're 9 foot apart. This has been episode 68 of the Fortean Slip. We will be skipping 69 because Steve is a child. If you like this shit, hit
Just
the
the word 69.
hit the like button. If you don't, hit the little thumbs down button. Leave a comment. Say something shitty if you feel like it. I don't give a fuck. Especially this week. Hopefully next week we'll be back on schedule.
Episode 69.
Oh yeah, and we reached 1,000 subscribers. I'm thrilled.
Nice.
I'm thrilled because I'm so sick. Yay!